Hey babes, it's Sophia. Just popping in for a little note to let you know that I am taking the month of March as a little break from the podcast. I've got you covered. We're going to pull some of the most favorite episodes, but also I want to share some of the underrated episodes that have a lot of the juicy stuff that I am finding myself repeating, not only in my coaching sessions, but on my free Spark calls. So maybe you've heard these before. I invite you to re-listen with a new ear. And if you haven't, then please do enjoy. They are a lovely visit into some of the skills that we need to master in order to have naked, sexy fun in our long-term relationships. With that in mind, I just want to mention that I only have 7 spots left in the Naked Fun Comeback, which is my signature program to help you go from awkward and pressure-filled sex or no sex to easy, comfortable, and consistent intimacy that feels good for you both. This iteration of the Naked Fun Comeback is essentially a 4-month coaching program. It comes with 4 months of curriculum that you can do in your spare time, I promise. It's 30-minute videos once a week for you to listen to on the private podcast or in the video stream, and minimum a 30-minute date night once a month, ideally once a week. So if you can listen to a 30-minute video or 30-minute lesson once a week, and you can do a 30-minute date night with your partner once a week, you are going to see progress. The magic is that right now only, I am still offering one-on-one coaching in this offer. So you get a customized journey through the curriculum. You get me in your pocket every single day, except for the weekends, helping you pivot when your initiation move went sideways, helping you process when your date night didn't go as planned, and helping you celebrate when things are going well. I am hearing such amazing things from my clients in the program. We've got a couple that interrupted their duty sex cycle that was happening for several years. They had an amazing weekend away. She wanted it. She was asking for more. They are debriefing on the regular and building a sex life that feels so good for them. And I even have men and higher libido partners who have joined the program alone, who are engaging their partners in connection, even if it's not intimate yet, for the first time in a while. And they now have a step-by-step process to follow with me coaching them by their side. So this is the most affordable this program is ever going to be, with the most access to me that you can ever get. Get in on one of those spots. If you can't find a time to book a coaching call with me, just DM me on Instagram or email me and let's get you sorted. I would really love to see you in there. And otherwise, really juicy things are coming for the Naked Fun Comeback program. I'm excited for everything that we're going to roll out later in the spring. That is all I've got to say. Without further ado, enjoy this week's episode, and I will talk to you soon. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. It's so nice to be back. Today, we are diving into one of my favorite topics that has truly transformed my own sexual experiences, and that is understanding spectatoring and the male gaze. This term is one of my faves, and it was a game changer in helping me understand what often blocks pleasure and connection during intimate moments. Essentially, what keeps you in your head spiraling instead of in your body enjoying. So let's get into it. Spectatoring is a concept that might be new to some of you. You may or may not have heard me use this term before. And I first came across it in about 2014, thanks to Dr. Bella Ellwood-Clayton's book, Sex Drive, In Pursuit of Female Desire. And in the book, Dr. Clayton, who's a self-described sexual anthropologist, explains that spectatoring is a form of sexual self-consciousness where we observe ourselves from a third person perspective during intimate moments. Imagine it as having a second you in the corner of the bedroom with a clipboard, judging everything that's happening instead of being fully immersed in the experience. You're busy inspecting, monitoring, and evaluating yourself. This kind of self-judgment can really interfere with your ability to enjoy and connect with your partner, and also really impact your ability to even achieve orgasm or the ultimate kind of pleasure that you're seeking during a sexual experience. So Dr. Clayton references the work of sex researchers William Masters and Virginia Johnson, who noted that spectatoring undermines sexual responsiveness and satisfaction. So it's like having an internal critic critic that distracts you from your sensations and from connection with your partner. It basically kills the mojo, right? It gets rid of the vibes. And similarly, David Barlow also has a model that suggests that these thoughts disrupt your sexual performance. So if your brain is preoccupied with concerns like, am I taking too long? Or does he care that I didn't shave? Or where do I put my hands? It becomes difficult to focus on the pleasure that you're receiving in your body. Interestingly, research shows that women often have a disconnection between what we call your subjective experience and your physiological arousal. So, for example, a study found that women's sense of arousal doesn't often align with what's actually happening physically. This can lead to a mismatch between how turned on you are and how much pleasure you feel. Meaning you could have lots of juices and like your pussy could be super happy, but you're not actually feeling that turned on or that aroused. Why does this happen? Well, spectatoring often gets in the way of this dynamic, and it stems from societal expectations about what's considered attractive or sexy. And really, it comes from being bombarded with images of idealized bodies and perfect sexual experiences, which create unrealistic standards. This really, overall, what this means is it comes from the concept of the male gaze. And the male gaze is just everywhere and pervasive in our media. And the male gaze is a concept that was coined by feminist film critic Laura Mulvey. And what it describes is the cinematic angle of a heterosexual male on a female subject. So essentially, all the cameras, whether they're taking ads for Nivea cream or filming a movie, are the eyes of a straight white man looking at women in certain ways, focusing on her body parts, dressing her in certain ways, choosing certain camera angles and lighting that are all centered around what straight white men view as good, valuable, or sexy in a woman. And this becomes the internalized gaze, the way we look at ourselves. It's like this camera that's always on, and it manifests as self-judgment about our body, our hair, our appearance, or even how we're supposed to move during sex and what we're supposed to do during sex. I can personally relate to this on so many levels, but recently I've found myself even unsure about like what to do with my hands sometimes when I'm on top during sexy times. I'm like worried they're going to look out of place. I'm like, do I put them up here? Do I put them on his chest? Do I touch my own body? Like I get super self-conscious about what I'm doing with my hands. It also, the male gaze comes with this way that we validate ourselves and our sexual worthiness. And we do this by either getting satisfaction out of the male response to our presentation. So, he is enjoying what he's seeing, so that makes me feel good. Or by kind of imagining this camera on us at all times, even when we're alone, even when we're masturbating, even when we're dancing in our kitchen, right? In essence, we are constantly performing our sexiness for this invisible male eye instead of for ourselves. So while the gaze of your partner or partners naturally plays a part in your eroticism, and voyeurism is a whole other thing that can also be a turn on, I talk to a lot of women who struggle to embody their sexiness. They can't feel their sexiness because they are performing their sexiness. And that really is what spectatoring is about. You're sort of in your body trying to enjoy the moment, and you're in the corner watching yourself, critiquing yourself at the same time. If you're a mom or a parent, but particularly a mom, there's an added layer of societal pressure, and that's this idea of a mother being sensual or sexual kind of really feels incongruent with the nurturing caregiving role that society often expects of women. And so these outdated notions can contribute to even more spectatoring, which makes it even harder to relax and enjoy intimacy. It can even put us in a spectatoring mode where even if we're not having sex, if our partner just makes a move on us or tries hugging us or snuggling us from behind, if the kids are kind of watching or around, we have this person in the clipboard being like, you're being too sexual right now. It can make us really squick and squirm away from intimacy that we want, because what used to not make us feel uncomfortable makes us feel uncomfortable now because there's a new critic in the corner that wasn't there before motherhood. So I want to share an experience where I faced spectatoring head on. This was a couple years ago now after my first, where I was really battling with this. But my partner and I had a rare moment of intimacy in those days. And even though we had privacy and even though there were no other distractions, I found myself slipping into spectator mode. And my mind was really racing with self criticism. Your legs are hairy, your belly's not flat, you haven't showered, your hair's a mess. And it was very overwhelming. This voice of my spectator was very loud. And I realized I needed to do something or I was going to lose the moment. I had an opportunity alone with my partner with no kids. We could have fun here. And my inner spectator was blowing it for me. So I decided to try two things in that moment. And the first was to incorporate some basic Tantra techniques that I learned. So a little bit of visualizing a red ball of light in my pelvis to connect with some sensual energy and a little bit of like breath work and chanting that we do in my Tantra practice. And the other more important one that's really accessible for everyone today was I decided to reclaim my spectator. So instead of letting my inner critic judge me, I mutated her into a supportive cheerleader. I ditched her clipboard, I gave her some tassels, and I'm like, imagine me, like I'm having sex, I'm kissing my partner, I'm connecting with him, and in my head, instead of you're so fat, whatever, I started telling myself, you're so sexy, you're a goddess, you move amazingly. I literally visualized a cheerleader on the sidelines telling me that I was awesome rather than visualizing a critic. And it shifted things completely in that moment for me. I started riding this wave with what my cheerleader was doing for me. So the moral of the story is we need to be aware of the fact that we're watching ourselves from the corner of the room and transform that into a different kind of moment. So here's 3 tips that I have for how to deal with your spectator if you have one. The first is to reclaim your spectator. So if you can't get rid of her, try as much as you can to turn her into a supportive voice. Feed her or get her to feed you rather positive affirmations that are boosting your confidence and enjoyment. It could feel untrue in the moment, but if you get her to just yell it like the most zealous high school teenage cheerleader, like just allow yourself to be a little surprised at what happens. The other, and this is a bit more preventative, but curating your media diet is huge. I have really worked hard to make sure that my Instagram is a space that is more centered around the female gaze, is more centered around diverse bodies, diverse perspectives, diverse lighting. I always share the example of, and I wish I could find the link for you, of this beautiful portrait series, but this photographer was traveling around the States doing portraits in the nude, like nude portraits of women in their home. They weren't boudoir sessions. They were like women drinking tea on their couch naked, women cooking in their kitchen naked, women just sitting on the edge of their tub naked, women just in their everyday experiences naked. And this like it was game changer for me because I looked at all these photos and I thought every single one of these women with all their rolls and folds and lovely bodies were just beautiful. And I was like, how is it that I can look at these women and think they are all stunning and gorgeous and I do not reserve the same level of compassion and kind words for myself? It really allowed me a reframe. And so when my Instagram is full of bodies like that, then it makes my body normal and the same as all of those other bodies instead of a curation of totally fake model bodies that are only some people's bodies, not everybody's bodies. So paying attention to the media that you consume and the kind of gaze that's in that media can really reframe your brain and just tame that critic. And then the last piece is to really use your senses as a leverage point during sex. So bringing more mindfulness into your daily life, but also into your sexual practice, which just means if you're finding that your critic's really loud, can you drown them out by focusing on exactly how your partner's fingers feel as they drag across your inner thigh, or exactly how your partner's tongue feels as it's skimming across your clit, like exactly the pace of your breath, or exactly what sensation is at the tip of your nose as you breathe in. Bringing yourself fully into your body allows you to drown out the noise that's coming from your brain, even if you can't get rid of those negative thoughts altogether. And there you have it, my friends, a super quickie today, but I hope you found something interesting and useful there. I'd love to know which of the 3 tips that you want to try. Give me a comment in the blog below or let me know in the DMs. And I'd love to hear like your most hilarious spectatoring moment. Like, what does your spectator say to you that you want to shove back in her face or patriarchy's face? Let me know. Thanks so much for being here as usual, and I'll talk to you soon.